March 11th in 2020, and then the very next week everything shut down. And so it was insane. We had drained our savings, we borrowed a whole bunch of money, and we were going all in on this idea. And at first it was really challenging because we thought we were just going to be able to buy mobile clinics from somewhere and we could fix them up, and then we could sell them to a smaller healthcare system. But COVID made it so that nobody wanted to sell their clinics at all. And so it forced us to innovate very quickly. And that's where we started our own manufacturing plant so that we could do it ourselves. And COVID definitely sent some balls our way, for sure. Like, we were 5 people around a kitchen table at the very beginning.
So Mission Mobile, right? Founded in 2020.
Yep.
You're the nation's largest mobile healthcare provider.
That's correct.
How did you reach that in such a short amount of time, but also with the, because what I think about is COVID and how difficult that must have been for healthcare just in general, trying to reach out. But mobile healthcare, I feel like you guys are way more accessible, and meeting people halfway could have maybe helped during the pandemic. It was just something I was thinking about in my head. I didn't know if you had a thought on.
No, for sure. So we incorporated on March.
Questions was, how does the legal side of business vary when you're doing stuff in Canada versus the United States? Like, are there any big differences you see, or like certifications or restrictions, paperwork?
I think, well, yes, there was a lot of paperwork, to be honest, to get over the border. But we found a great partner to work with that was really able to help us navigate all of those things.
What was that partner?
Oh my gosh, like Case, or started with CA something, I'll find out. Because that was a big deal, we had no idea. And then those vehicles actually ended up coming back to the United States. And so they had to do all of these like emission testing and to make sure, and we're like, but it came from here. It didn't do anything, but it's coming back. So it was like a different process to get them back over the border. So it was kind of crazy.
You said you were operating with only 5 employees back in 2020 when you started. What processes did y'all put in place that still exist now?
There's a few things that we put in place. One of those things is our weekly all hands. So we have a meeting every single Monday at 9 o'clock. We've never missed it. During COVID, we would sit around in like Dick's Sporting Goods chairs in the middle of the shop, right, to have this meeting. And it really set the tone for the week. So that's one of the systems. And then the other systems is the one-on-ones. So you will never go like a year without knowing how you're doing in your position. Like, you meet with your direct reports or your manager or whoever every single week, and you talk about goals, what's going on, what is like blocking you, and that's been a big piece, because I can't imagine like going a whole year and then somebody's like, you really suck at your job, right? Right? And so that component, I think, has helped everybody and helped us scale too as quickly as
well. Speaking of your expansion goals, I saw one thing that you did was the second 80,000 square foot facility. The second one?
That's this one?
Facility?
This facility.
Okay, I didn't know if this was the second or the first.
This is the second. So the other one's on Boeing.
Okay. I'm from California, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. So right by the
airport.
Yeah, it's right by the airport. So, well, our very first one was 3,000 square feet, and it was tiny. And we grew, so we had to move to the Boeing location. And that was 25,000 square feet. And then we took over the other side, which turned into 50,000. And then we bought this facility. So our current plan is to create a campus here, and by
Speaking of growth, I know we were on like expansions of buildings. Y'all's revenue growth jumped from 6 million to 55 million. Which service lines or programs do you think contributed the most to that?
So originally we've been really equipment focused. Like at the very beginning, it was like, let's just get them the mobile clinic. But then people were like, well, we still need to like run. What happens if it breaks down on the side of the road? So then we started doing service. And then after that, they're like, well, we're not exactly sure how to run the whole program. And so then we brought in program advising. And so we've continued to move more from like a product focus to more of a service-based model. And that's gonna be what's gonna take us to the 10X versus just the equipment. Right?
Yeah.
So.
I saw on y'all's website you're a certified B Corporation.
We are, yes.
What is a certified B Corporation?
So Certified B Corporation is a for-profit company that functions as a non-profit company. And so we meet all of the qualifications, the certifications, everything that a normal nonprofit, but we're still for profit. So we're not a 501c3 or anything like that, but we very much feel like we operate with a community-minded, people-minded, like trying to make a difference like nonprofits do. And so that's why we went the B Corp dealer's license too. So that's how we get the vehicles, because we're essentially buying a vehicle and then we have to sell it just like a car dealership would. So that's a whole other adventure. Okay.
I've been looking for this.
So types of client contracts. So right now, typically what we do is we give them a statement of work so that it's detailed line by line. Here's what we're gonna do, here's what the expectations are. And they'll sign that, and then comes the master service agreement afterwards. And so once the master service agreement is signed, that becomes like the dictating documents if there's ever a disagreement or anything like that. But typically it's, we haven't had any issues, to be honest. But we want to be super clear at the very beginning, right? Like, this is what you can expect, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we'll deliver, so that there aren't any questions.
And it's all completely outlined in the contract, like, so there's no confusion. Okay.
Yeah, in the statement of work, and then of course, like the contract itself. So, that's our business structure. So we are an S Corp. We're not a C Corp, which is different. It means that we're not double taxed when you want to break it down totally. Because do we have supplier contracts? We don't have any supplier contracts.
The only thing we're obligated to do is there's a couple vendors that hold product for us in their warehouse that we don't pay for until we take it.
Right.
We're obligated to buy it if we back out of them, but other than that, no.
And those are long-term relationships you built since the start, or is it a different supplier? Like, how does that work?
Some of them are very new, like I have one order with them, but like she'll fill out vendor references, credit references, all our info. They look us up before they make a decision on how much credit they'll extend.
How's that process usually? Does it usually happen quick, or
it depends on who it is?
Yeah.
Some people will do it and send it in a day. Some people will do it and send it in 2 months. Some people will do it one time and want us to send pictures of an install.
Then how do you guys make it happen to fit your timeline of when you need it to happen?
Sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
Our chassis models, so we specifically like specific types of chassis, right? So like the Forest River Georgetown, which we can't get anymore because they stopped making it, and so we have to find an alternative to that. And like Jesse's looking for what? Jayco's, the medium-sized clinic right now. We can't find that in our current price point that we love. So just constantly trying to figure out that component of it, and also not buying things that nobody else is gonna buy later. So there's a couple vehicles that we are still sitting on, unfortunately, that we weren't able to convert, or we didn't convert, and so they just hang out. And then our current ARPA-H contract, you're talking about technology, the current ARPA-H is to bring like hospital grade, hospital level equipment to rural America. And so that, when Jesse shows it to you.
Anything else you have?
Let's talk about Paradigm.
Paradigm, oh, we were just talking about that.
Yeah. How did y'all come
$6
about
million.
how did y'all get involved with Paradigm?
Like the concept?
Building it.
So I think the app, I'm not sure exactly, the application, I know that came out, but then it was quite the process, to be honest. It took us, I think, about 9 months and a lot of engineering feats, and also Neil is our marketing genius, resident genius, and he helped come up with the design. What?
She's met
I have met Neil.
You have?
He is a fun time.
He's amazing. He is amazing. So he came up with the design, and then they pitched it, right? It was something that was totally different than what anybody else was planning to do. And so it was like, what could we do, right? Like, how could we make this happen? And so that's really how we ended up in this first part of it.
And the contracts through the government?
Yep, ARPA-H. So it's, what is it? The Advanced Research something in health. But it's the same as DARPA or defense.
Yes.
So they're cutting edge, like they very much, the whole project is what's the next generation gonna look like.
And how long is the process to figure out if y'all win the?
Ooh, that's a great question. So right now we're putting together the prototype and it has to be delivered in May.
Okay.
And so at that point, there's another component, it's called the down select.
Mhm.
And so we'll either be chosen to bring it to market,
Okay.
or we will not be chosen. And we might still just bring it to market, we're gonna be chosen. But we might still bring it to market because it's a really good idea.
That's what I've heard.